Washington Pod presents Earl Nightingale.
Roberto Assagioli, M.D., is one of the masters of modern psychology, in the line that runs from Freud through Jung and Maslow. Himself a colleague of all these men, Assagioli pioneered in bringing psychoanalysis to Italy in 1910. He began simultaneously developing a critique of the Freudian contribution, pointing out that Freud had largely neglected the higher reaches of human nature, as did Maslow. Over the years, Dr. Assagioli developed a comprehensive psychology, psychosynthesis. In psychosynthesis, vision is carefully integrated with nearly all available psychological techniques into an approach which is unique for each individual. The vision of psychosynthesis sees man as naturally tending toward power and harmony within himself and with the world around him. Roberto Assagioli's new understanding of will is central to that vision and to making it real in the world. The Act of Will was first published in 1973. I particularly enjoyed his comments in Chapter 17 on the joyous will. He says the association of will with joy may seem surprising because the will has generally been considered something stern, exacting, forbidding, denying, particularly since the Victorian period. Yet the act of willing can be and often is intrinsically joyous. In order to realize this, it's necessary to have a clear conception of the nature and the various aspects and manifestations of joy. But there is not yet a coherent psychology of joy, because the scientific psychology of what Maslow aptly calls the farther reaches of human nature, of being values, or even of true health, is only now in the process of emerging. The pursuit of happiness is considered and is proclaimed in the American Constitution as a right, but rarely is a clear definition given as to what happiness means. It's understood in various and divergent ways by different individuals and groups. While it's not possible on this occasion to give the psychology of joy its due, a preliminary clarification can be offered for the better understanding of the joy of willing. One can say that enjoyment is the concomitant and the result of the satisfaction of a need, of any need. Thus, for each of the levels of needs described by Maslow, there is a corresponding kind of enjoyment. The result of the satisfaction of the basic needs can be called pleasure. The general subjective state of a person whose normal needs and desires are at least temporarily satisfied can be called happiness. The result of the fulfillment of the higher needs is joy. The good will is joyous. It creates a harmonious, joyful atmosphere, and acts of goodwill have rich and sometimes amazing results. Altruistic, humanitarian activities give deep satisfaction and a sense of fulfilling one's true purpose in life. As an Eastern sage has said, world tasks are like fires of joy. Finally, the full transpersonal self-realization, and even more, the communion or identification with universal transcendent reality has been called bliss. At this point, it's important to recognize that there is no fundamental incompatibility between the satisfaction of all these needs and the consequent enjoyment. Enjoyment of the higher needs does not exclude enjoyment at all other levels. So there you have definitions of enjoyment, pleasure, happiness, joy, and finally, bliss. Something you don't run across every day of the week, right?